The question of today is, are you willing to stay consistent with your goals when you're not getting the progress? If you're not getting the results, are you willing to continue doing it day in and goddamn day out? I am on my way to the gym, and today is one of those days where I do not want to work out. And it's not even that I'm like slumped or anything. I took pre-workout, probably because I had coffee earlier. Took pre-workout, I don't feel shit from it. I don't feel anything. Maybe a little skin crawl, but nothing much. Not a crazy amount of energy. And as you can see, it's, rainy, cloudy, a little chilly. What is it, like 50 something? A little chilly today. So it's one of them days where you just kind of want to, maybe sit on your ass. But we're not going to do that. I've always had this question sometimes. I used to say that a half-assed workout is better than no workout, right? That a half-assed workout is better than no workout. Questionable. I don't know. I've been back and forth on that because sometimes I feel like rather than going to have a half-assed workout, I'll just recover so that way I can kill it on my next session. You go through those little valleys and ups and downs with that, and some periods you need recovery, some periods you just need to keep going. But these type of days, just being consistent, are always going to end up getting you the results that you want. They're always going to end up getting you further along than you would have gotten if you days like this you decided you weren't going to work out, right? Days like this, if I decided I wasn't going to work out, well, it's going to be a rough winter. And I got to keep my foot on the throttle. And I think that applies to just about every damn thing in life. What the hell? Staying consistent is usually going to get you the results that you want with most things in life. So that is the question. Are you willing to keep going when the progress is slow? Are you willing to keep going when the fruits of your labor haven't, you don't see anything sprouting on that damn tree? Don't see them seeds you planted. None of that is sprouting above soil. Are you willing to keep going? You will always be further along if you just stay consistent, right? And it's so true. Several years ago, I started studying Mandarin, and I was getting so damn good at it. I was so consistent with it. And I was picking up, I could go to restaurants, I was picking up on shit on the menu. I was being able to start to read characters. I could tell you what item was roast duck. Right? I just kept at it, and the progress was just exponential. But what happened? I stopped. And now I've been using Duolingo for a whole damn year, and I still don't know, I know more words, but the structure of the language I knew a lot more then, and lesser time that I was consistent back then. But that's just where consistency always comes in there. That you stay consistent, your mind, your body is just operating on whatever you're trying to learn, whatever you're trying to grow from. And the same way again with working out. You stay consistent with it even when the results are slow. Excuse me. Even when the results are slow. But you're gonna get so much further along than if you're starting and then you're stopping. You're starting and then you're stopping. I think sometimes we can stop so maybe prematurely to the point that we never got into that flow. Like with certain things, you continue enough, you get into a flow, and it almost becomes habit. It almost becomes ingrained in you to continue them. But sometimes we don't give ourselves that benefit because we stop too short. And again, starting over is just going to be a setback. Starting over is just going to, and I don't want to say you're going to start from ground zero, right? I don't think you truly start from ground zero, but the stress of starting back over again, when you had consistency, it's just slowing you down, right? It's just slowing you down. If there's anything in your life right now that you're trying to make progress towards, a goal that you have, something that you're trying to reach, a skill you're trying to develop, consistency is going to be your friend. Consistency is going to be your ally in that process. You want to keep your foot on the throttle. And I know it's difficult sometimes because life can get in the way. Sometimes we're going through shit, and it's just, we're not feeling, we're not in the moment, we're not in the mood to do whatever we got to do. We're not in the mood to study, we're not in the mood to work out. It's just gonna be like that. And if we gave in to that lack of, if we gave in to the mood, the lack of motivation always, we'll never get there, because there's going to be too many fucking moments of that. There's going to be too many moments where we lack motivation, and you just can't rely on that. You can't rely on that. Sometimes you have to will yourself. Sometimes you have to will yourself to keep going. Sometimes you have to will yourself to get up and do what you have to do despite not wanting to do it. And trust me, guys, I completely understand how difficult that can be. When you're going through heavy shit in your life, I know it's very difficult. I have to tell myself this. You know, these things that I preach on here, I get on here and I start talking and yapping in these videos. I'm yapping because I'm telling myself these same things. These things are going through my mind constantly, and I have to continue to remind myself of them. I have to continue to remind myself to stay consistent. Today, for example, I knew that if I didn't get to the gym, I was just going to regret it. I was going to regret knowing that I left it on the table today when I had it completely within me. The time is decent, energy is decent enough, and you know, it's not going to block me from other things that I have to get done. And I know that I've had to, in my own life, I've had to find better balance between the gym. I was working out maybe 5-6 days a week for the last few years. For this last year especially, just going pretty hard. And you know, it's not only sometimes just this fatigue and harder to recover from that, but I noticed that I was just taking energy away from other things in my life that were important. So, you know, again, sometimes you just have to find balance. Sometimes finding balance doesn't mean you're lacking consistency. It just means that you're strategizing your time and your energy. So keep that in mind also. When I preach about consistency, I don't mean, you know, force yourself to do something and neglect all else. You know, you got to find balance in your life. Everything fits into your life in a certain way. You got to find the right harmony between them. Sometimes you're probably just gonna have to dedicate more time towards one thing. Another time you're gonna have to shift that energy, time towards something else. But the main thing is that, again, you constantly keep your foot on the throttle, and that I'll end on this. When you feel that you are on that right frequency, you feel that, you know, you're making progress, and you feel like when you feel like you are leading your life, you're the one deciding what you're gonna do. You're the one who are dictating the way that your day goes. I think that's the important thing. As long as you feel that, then I think you're on the right track. But if you feel like you put your sail up and you're just getting blown around where the wind goes, and you know, you're not the one being in charge of your mind. You're not the one charging your body to say, hey, today we're gonna do this shit. Telling your mind, today we're gonna focus. We're gonna get this done. If you're not the one doing that, then you got that shit to work on. You got to be careful about that. You got to do better. And again, I'm telling myself these same exact things. So let's get it. I'll see you guys later.